Imagine this. You're rummaging through an old jar of pennies, maybe one that's been sitting in your attic for decades. You pick up a dusty, brown coin that doesn't seem like much at first. But then, under the light, you notice the year 1944. No mint mark. And what if I told you that tiny, forgotten coin in your hand could be worth up to $944,000? Yes, nearly $1 million. 1 penny. One life-changing discovery. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But the truth is, rare coins like the 1944 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny are quietly transforming the lives of collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people who never thought a single cent could bring them fortune. And today, we're going to uncover the fascinating story, the hidden value, and the shocking secrets behind this legendary coin, so you can discover if you might be holding one yourself. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked closely at your pocket change? Probably never, right? Well, by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's start at the beginning. The year is 1944. The world was still reeling from World War II. America was recovering, industries were shifting, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to conserve resources. Just 1 year earlier, in 1943, the government had made pennies out of steel instead of copper, because copper was desperately needed for ammunition. Those 1943 steel pennies became a famous wartime relic. But when 1944 rolled around, the mint switched back to copper, melting down old shell casings from the war to create the new coins. Here's where things get interesting. Among those millions of copper coins struck that year, a few extraordinary mistakes slipped through the cracks, coins that defied normal production. The most famous of them all? The 1944 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny. Now, you might wonder what's so special about not having a mint mark. Great question. The absence of that tiny letter, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, means this coin was made in Philadelphia. But not all Philadelphia coins are created equal. A very small number of these 1944 pennies were struck on leftover steel planchets. Tiny, silvery metal blanks that should have been used in 1943, not 1944. These are the true holy grails. Rare, valuable, and virtually priceless to collectors. Imagine finding one of those in your change. The kind of discovery that sends chills down your spine and changes your financial future overnight. One of these coins, graded in pristine condition, recently sold for an astonishing $944,000. A single cent that turned into nearly $1 million. That's not just a story, it's an opportunity. But why are these coins worth so much? It all comes down to 3 factors: rarity, demand, and condition. Rarity is the most obvious. Out of the hundreds of millions of pennies minted in 1944, only a few steel planchet errors escaped the mint. Experts estimate fewer than 30 exist in total. And of those, only a handful are in near-perfect condition. Think of it like a lottery ticket that survived 80 years, waiting for the right person to find it. Then there's demand. Collectors crave these coins because they represent a fascinating error, a mistake so rare it's nearly mythical. It's like holding a piece of history that shouldn't exist. And when collectors compete for something this scarce, prices can skyrocket. Finally, condition. In the world of coins, condition is everything. A 1944 no-mint mark penny with scratches, corrosion, or heavy wear might fetch a few $100s. But one in mint state, graded MS-67 or higher, can sell for hundreds of thousands. That's the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. Now, before you run to grab your coin jar, here's a word of caution. Not every 1944 penny is valuable. In fact, most are made of copper and worth only a few cents. The trick is to test it. A steel 1944 penny will stick to a magnet, while copper ones won't. If yours does stick, congratulations, you might have just found the rarest penny in your life. And if it doesn't stick, don't toss it yet. Even the regular copper versions can fetch impressive prices depending on their grade. A perfectly preserved copper 1944 penny can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars from serious collectors. Speaking of condition, let's talk about grading. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC assign coins a grade from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the better the condition, and the more valuable the coin. A coin graded MS-70 means it's in perfect, flawless condition. It's rare, it's pristine, and it's worth serious money. Now, let's add a bit of perspective. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a small, shiny penny in your hand. The dealer examines it under a magnifying glass. His eyes widen. He looks at you and says, "Do you realize what you have here?" That single moment could change your life. Fear, excitement, disbelief, all hitting you at once, because you've just discovered a treasure that's been hiding in plain sight. But here's where many people go wrong. They sell too soon. They panic, or they don't know where to sell, and they let go of a gem worth hundreds of thousands for a few $100. Don't let that be you. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's the difference between pocket change and financial freedom. Now, you might be thinking, where do I even start? That's the exciting part. Rare coins are discovered in the most unexpected places. Old jars, inherited collections, estate sales, or even flea markets. The 1944 penny worth $944,000 was once pulled from a simple collection found in a relative's drawer. Just imagine if that was you. There's something truly magical about this coin beyond its value. It's a reminder that history and wealth often hide in the smallest details. A symbol of endurance, rarity, and chance. Three qualities that mirror life itself. The 1944 no-mint mark wheat penny isn't just a piece of metal. It's a silent witness to an era of war, recovery, and human ingenuity. It's proof that even in the most ordinary objects, there can be extraordinary worth. Let's lighten things up for a moment. You know that feeling when you drop a penny and don't bother to pick it up? Yeah, you might want to start bending down from now on. Who knows, one of those could buy you a mansion. Jokes aside, this isn't just about coins. It's about mindset. It's about seeing potential where others see nothing. The same way collectors spot hidden gems, you too can train your eyes to find opportunities that others overlook. Whether it's a coin, a collectible, or an idea, the world is full of overlooked fortunes waiting to be discovered. Still, here's the catch. Time is not on your side. As collectors buy up and lock away these rare coins, fewer and fewer will ever reach the open market again. Each year, the remaining ones become harder to find and more expensive. That's where the urgency comes in. If you've got a 1944 penny tucked away somewhere, this might be the perfect time to get it appraised. You never know how close you might be to holding nearly $1 million in your hand. And here's something even more intriguing. There are still undiscovered error coins out there. The US Mint produced billions of pennies over the decades, and mistakes, while rare, did happen. A double die here, a repunched mint mark there. All potential gold mines for those who know what to look for. The 1944 penny might be the crown jewel, but it's far from the only one worth life-changing money. So the next time you find yourself with spare change, don't overlook it. Check every coin. Examine the details, because each one carries a story, and maybe, just maybe, your story of financial freedom starts with a single cent. Think about that. The difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one could literally be sitting in a drawer right now. And if you're still skeptical, remember this. The people who discovered these rare coins weren't experts. They were regular people, retirees, parents, even kids, who simply paid attention. They took the time to look, to learn, and to act. That's the secret. The treasure is out there, but only those who take action will find it. Now, let me leave you with this thought. Every coin has two sides, but so does every opportunity. On one side, there's disbelief, hesitation, and inaction. On the other, there's curiosity, courage, and the potential for life-changing reward. Which side are you on? Because while most people walk past the small things in life, those who recognize value in the overlooked end up wealthier than they ever imagined. The 1944 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny is more than a collector's dream. It's a symbol of possibility. A reminder that wealth doesn't always come from where you expect. So the next time you see a penny, don't just see a coin. See a door to history, to discovery, and maybe, just maybe, to a new chapter of wealth in your life. And if the story inspired you, don't stop here. Subscribe, stay curious, and keep your eyes open for more hidden treasures. Because somewhere, right now, someone is holding the next $1 million coin without even knowing it. Imagine holding a coin so common, so ordinary, that millions pass it by every day, yet yours could be worth nearly $1 million. The 1948 no-mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny may look like pocket change, but some rare examples of this coin have stunned collectors, selling for up to $948,000. And here's the thing. One of those pennies could be sitting quietly in your drawer right now. Let's dive into the fascinating story behind this unassuming piece of copper, how it came to be, why it's so rare, and how a single penny from 1948 became one of America's most astonishing treasures. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly what to look for and why this humble coin holds the power to change someone's life. In 1948, the United States was emerging from the shadows of World War II. Factories were shifting from wartime production back to civilian life, and optimism was rising. The Lincoln Wheat penny, already beloved by Americans, continued to circulate as a symbol of resilience and prosperity. But something remarkable happened that year, something hidden in plain sight. At first glance, the 1948 no-mint Mark penny looks like any other coin. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the classic wheat stalks on the back. It was minted in Philadelphia, where coins traditionally bore no mint mark. But what most people don't realize is that among the millions of pennies struck, a handful left the mint with subtle, almost invisible flaws that transformed them from everyday coins into ultra-rare collectibles. Tiny die cracks, double die errors, and misaligned strikes made certain 1948 no-mint mark pennies extraordinarily rare. These weren't factory mistakes. They were hidden gems waiting to be discovered decades later by collectors who recognized their true value. The story of this coin is more than numismatic. It's a reminder that overlooked things often hold the greatest worth. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Back then, nobody cared about coin errors. Most people simply spent their pennies without a second thought. And so, these rare coins slipped into circulation, vanishing into the pockets of millions. Today, finding one in pristine condition is like unearthing buried treasure. Before we reveal how one of these coins reached a market value of $948,000, think about this. How many times have you tossed spare change into a jar without looking closely? How many opportunities might you have missed because you didn't recognize what you were holding? The 1948 penny teaches us an important truth. Not everything valuable announces itself loudly. Some treasures whisper. One of the most striking examples of this coin's power came when a nearly flawless 1948 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny was discovered by a collector in the Midwest. Stored for decades in an old cigar box, it looked ordinary, until magnification revealed doubling on Lincoln's date and lettering. The discovery sent shockwaves through the coin community, and after authentication and grading, its auction price soared to $948,000. Imagine the emotion of that moment. The thrill of realizing that a penny worth 1 cent had just turned into a life-changing fortune. That's not luck. That's awareness. And it could happen again. Now, let's address the burning question. Why does this coin command such staggering value today? Several key factors converge to make it a collector's dream. First, condition. Coins graded in higher mint states, especially MS-67 or higher, are extremely scarce. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of pennies in 1948, but time and circulation have worn most of them down. Finding a specimen with its original luster intact, sharp details, and no scratches is like finding a diamond in a gravel pit. Second, historical context. The post-war era in America was a time of hope, rebuilding, and renewed patriotism. Collectors see these coins as a tangible piece of that history, a copper snapshot of an era defined by resilience. Third, the mystique of rarity. When you combine limited surviving examples, pristine condition, and emotional significance, the result is explosive demand. High-end collectors, investors, and even museums compete fiercely for coins like these. But let's pause for a second. If you think coins are just for hobbyists, think again. Rare pennies like this have become powerful investment assets. In the last decade, the value of premium Lincoln Wheat pennies has skyrocketed. A $1,000 coin from the early 2000s can now sell for tens of thousands. That's not nostalgia, it's smart investing. And here's the twist that makes the story even more thrilling. Experts believe there are still undiscovered 1948 no-mint mark wheat pennies sitting in private collections, forgotten in jars or inherited boxes. Some might even be in your possession right now. Take a moment to think about that. Every penny you've ever pocketed, every coin you've overlooked, could hide a secret worth nearly $1 million. Isn't it funny how sometimes we chase wealth in faraway places when it might be sitting right under our noses? If you want to know whether your 1948 penny could be the golden ticket, here's what to look for. First, check the coin's surface for clear, sharp details and a bright reddish luster. Second, examine the lettering, especially the date and the words, "In God We Trust." If there's even the slightest doubling or misalignment, you might be holding something extraordinary. Third, look for any signs of minting errors like die cracks or misstrikes. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin, giving it an official grade and verifying its market value. And here's the kicker: once a coin is verified as rare, its value doesn't just stay steady. It appreciates over time, especially as demand grows and supply shrinks. Think of it like real estate, but more portable and far more secretive. You can hold your investment in your hand, hide it in a safe, or pass it down through generations. It's history, art, and wealth all compressed into a single piece of copper. Still, many people make one big mistake. They assume all 1948 pennies are valuable. While most are worth only a few cents, those in uncirculated or proof-like condition can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on rarity. The difference lies in knowledge and timing. That's where fear enters the picture. The fear of missing out. The fear of selling too soon, or worse, of never realizing what you truly own. Imagine discovering years later that you gave away a coin worth nearly $1 million for just a few cents. It happens more often than you'd think. So what's the smart move? Educate yourself, get your coins appraised, and stay alert. Because right now, as you're watching this, someone out there is finding a coin that will completely rewrite their financial story. Why not you? Here's a humorous thought. People spend hundreds of dollars a year on lottery tickets, hoping to strike it rich. Yet a single penny made decades ago might do the job better. And unlike a lottery, the odds are in your favor if you know where to look. But let's not just focus on money. The 1948 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny also represents something deeper, a connection to America's past. Each one carries a story of endurance, craftsmanship, and hope. When you hold one, you're not just touching metal. You're holding a piece of history that has survived wars, recessions, and generations of change. There's also the emotional thrill, the sense of adventure that comes with treasure hunting. Every coin you examine is a mystery waiting to unfold. And when that moment of discovery arrives, it's electric. You're not just finding a rare coin. You're unlocking potential, rewriting your story, and maybe, just maybe, stepping into the life you've always dreamed of. Now, let's bring all this together. The 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny is more than just currency. It's a symbol of hidden wealth, patience, and discovery. Its $948,000 value isn't just a number. It's a message. It tells us that even the smallest things can hold immense power when seen through the right lens. So here's your call to action. Before you dismiss that old change jar, before you spend that handful of coins, take a closer look. The next time you see the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln staring back at you, ask yourself, could this be the one? Because one simple moment of curiosity could open the door to financial freedom. Check your 1948 pennies. Study them, protect them, get them appraised. And most importantly, don't underestimate what you already have. Because sometimes, the path to wealth doesn't begin with finding something new. It begins with recognizing the value of what's already in your hands. You've just learned the secret behind one of America's most valuable pennies. Now it's your turn to take action. Search your collection, share your discoveries, and step into the world of hidden treasures. Subscribe for more insights into rare coins that could change your life forever. Because as the story of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny proves, wealth isn't always minted in gold. It can be found in the simplest coin, waiting for the right person to notice.
What if I told you that one of those forgotten coins, a 1951 D Mint Mark Wheat Lincoln cent, could secretly be worth up to $951,000? Yes, nearly $1 million for a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. This story isn't just about copper and cents. It's about how small, hidden treasures can turn ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Back in the early 1950s, America was on the move. The war was over, prosperity was blooming, and the Denver Mint was busy striking millions of Lincoln wheat pennies. The 1951 D penny might seem common, but among the sea of copper, a few were struck so perfectly, or in rare cases with incredible minting errors, that they became legends in the world of numismatics. These rare survivors now carry stories of history, craftsmanship, and luck. And they're the reason some collectors have made fortunes from what was once worth just 1 cent. Before you rush to check your change jar, let's go deeper. Because understanding why this coin is so valuable isn't just about its age, it's about its soul. Each coin minted in 1951 at the Denver facility bears the tiny D beneath Lincoln's portrait. That small letter marks its origin, but what makes a particular penny worth up to $951,000 lies in the details. Pristine condition, sharp strikes, untouched luster, and sometimes errors so fascinating they defy belief. Now imagine this. An elderly man in Colorado once found his old childhood coin collection in his attic. Among them was a flawless 1951 D. Lincoln wheat penny sealed in a forgotten cardboard holder. When he had it appraised, experts nearly fell off their chairs. It was one of the finest known examples ever graded. That one penny, once pocket change from the Eisenhower era, was now valued at almost $1 million. His old toy became his family's legacy. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many of us have priceless treasures hiding in plain sight? Things we dismiss as too small, too ordinary, or too insignificant to matter. The truth is, life often hides its rewards behind layers of patience and attention to detail. The same is true for coins. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What makes this particular coin special? The 1951 D wheat penny was made primarily of copper, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Its design honors Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a symbol of endurance and leadership, while the reverse features the iconic wheat stalks, a tribute to America's growth and resilience. Over 625 million of these were minted in Denver alone. So yes, it's not rare in quantity, it's rare in perfection. Here's where things get exciting. Out of hundreds of millions struck, only a handful survived in mint state condition, untouched by time, circulation, or fingerprints. Those graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC are the elite of the elite. In recent years, record-breaking auctions have seen top-graded specimens reach well over $950,000, shocking even seasoned collectors. That's because true perfection is nearly impossible to find. So here's a quick question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny instead of tossing it into a drawer? You might laugh, but that's the difference between someone who misses opportunity and someone who spots it right under their nose. It's a little like life, isn't it? Opportunity rarely shouts. It whispers, disguised as something small and ordinary. Speaking of surprises, let's talk about minting errors. These are the accidents that make collectors' hearts race. A double die obverse, a repunched mint mark, an off-center strike. Any of these could transform a basic 1951 D penny into a treasure worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands. One coin, discovered with a dramatic double die on Lincoln's date and lettering, fetched over $100,000 alone. Combine that with near-perfect preservation, and you're looking at life-changing money. It's almost poetic. The tiniest imperfection creating immense value. Maybe that's something we can all relate to. Now let's step into the emotional part of the story. Picture someone who's been struggling financially, holding on to hope for something better. They open an old jar of coins their grandparents saved, thinking it's just sentimental clutter. But then they notice the D beneath Lincoln's portrait and the date, 1951. They feel a spark of curiosity. Could this be one of those valuable ones they've heard about online? They clean it carefully, submit it for grading, and days later receive the news. It's an ultra-rare gem, valued near $1 million. In that moment, everything changes. Their sense of scarcity turns into abundance. Their past, their patience, even their curiosity, all suddenly pay off. That's not just luck. That's destiny meeting awareness. It's easy to think these stories are too good to be true. But the coin market has proven time and again that rarity and demand can turn a humble penny into a powerhouse of wealth. And the numbers don't lie. A coin valued at $951,000 doesn't just represent metal. It represents history, artistry, and a collector's dream converging in one small object. Here's a thought. Have you ever wondered why so many people overlook coins? Maybe it's because we live in a world obsessed with the new. We chase digital assets, trends, and technology, forgetting that real, tangible wealth sometimes hides in the past. Old coins, especially those like the 1951 D Lincoln wheat cent, are reminders that value isn't created overnight. It's preserved through time. Let's pause for a second. If you're still watching, that means you're curious, maybe even inspired. Maybe you're realizing that the story of this coin isn't just about money. It's about rediscovering value in the overlooked corners of life. But wait, before you rush to grab your magnifying glass, there's a catch. The coin market rewards knowledge and precision. Not every 1951 D penny will be worth a fortune. Most will fetch a few cents, maybe a few dollars if they're clean. But that's what makes the search thrilling. The possibility that your penny could be the one. And trust me, people have found million-dollar coins in places as simple as a garage sale box or an inherited collection. You might be thinking, how can I know if my penny is valuable? Start by checking the basics: the year, the mint mark, and the condition. Look for a clear, sharp D mint mark, vibrant color, and no scratches or wear. Then examine for minting errors, doubled letters, unusual spacing, off-center details, or anything that looks odd. That oddity might just be your gold mine. Professional grading can transform your coin's fate. A coin in a sealed slab with an official grade skyrockets in value. It's the difference between being worth a few bucks and being auctioned for hundreds of thousands. Reputable services like PCGS or NGC are the gatekeepers of this world, and their certification can open doors to elite collectors who'll pay top dollar for verified gems. And here's where the urgency comes in. The market for rare U.S. coins, especially vintage Lincoln cents, is heating up like never before. Wealthy investors are diversifying their portfolios, not just in stocks or real estate, but in tangible assets like rare coins. As more collectors enter the scene, competition for high-grade examples intensifies. That means today's $951,000 penny could cross the million-dollar mark tomorrow. This is the moment to act, not later, not someday. Because as history shows, every boom in coin collecting favors those who pay attention early. You might find this funny, but collectors often joke that pennies make millionaires. And while that sounds like a punchline, it's also a truth. The smallest denomination in U.S. currency has created some of the biggest fortunes in the numismatic world. Think of it this way. The same penny that bought a piece of candy in 1951 could buy a luxury home in 2025. All it needed was to survive time untouched. There's something poetic about that. So, what can you do right now? Start small. Check your drawers, your piggy banks, your family's old jars. Research each coin carefully, especially those minted in the early 1950s. Learn the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that knowledge alone can change your life. It's not just about selling coins. It's about unlocking hidden wealth. Every coin you examine connects you to a moment in history, a legacy of craftsmanship, and a chance for transformation. Here's a little cliffhanger for you. In one of the most surprising cases ever, a 1951 D penny graded MS-68 red was sold at auction for just shy of $1 million, breaking records that stunned experts. But whispers in the collector's community suggest an even higher grade specimen might still exist, tucked away in someone's private collection or hidden in an old box somewhere. Imagine being the one to find it. The story of the 1951 D Lincoln wheat cent reminds us that fortune often hides behind familiarity. It's easy to overlook what's right in front of us, to dismiss the humble and chase the flashy. But the truly wealthy, the truly wise, understand that value is found where others fail to look. So, as you go about your day, take another glance at the pennies you handle. One of them could carry not just a portrait of Lincoln, but a promise of prosperity. Before you leave, remember this. Wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes it comes from seeing deeper. The 1951 D wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that what seems ordinary can hold extraordinary power, waiting for someone with the vision to recognize it. If you found this story inspiring, imagine what other treasures might be hiding in your home, waiting to be discovered. Stay curious, stay aware, and never underestimate the smallest things in life. Because sometime, what if I told you that a simple 1956 no mint mark wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny could secretly be worth up to $956,000? That's right. Nearly $1 million hiding in plain sight inside your pocket change, your coin jar, or that dusty drawer you haven't opened in years. This story isn't just about a coin, it's about discovering hidden fortune where no one else dares to look. In 1956, America was alive with optimism. Elvis Presley had just taken over the radio, the highways were filling with shiny new Chevrolets, and pennies jingled in every pocket as symbols of hard work and simple prosperity. Yet within that year's batch of coins, the U.S. Mint produced something extraordinary, pennies so rare, so valuable, that today they've become treasures sought by collectors, investors, and dreamers alike. The 1956 no mint mark wheat Lincoln penny may look like every other copper coin you've seen, but under the surface lies a story of scarcity, perfection, and a touch of mystery that has turned ordinary change into extraordinary wealth. Before we uncover what makes this coin worth nearly $1 million, let's address something everyone secretly wonders. How does a coin that was once worth just 1 cent reach a market value of $956,000 today? It's not luck. It's not magic. It's a combination of rarity, condition, and a few almost unbelievable minting details that only a handful of coins ever possessed. To understand this, we need to travel back to the heart of the 1950s, to the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of the 1956 no mint mark penny. Unlike pennies made in Denver or San Francisco, these Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark, meaning they were struck with precision and intended for wide circulation across the nation. Millions were produced, yes, but only a fraction survived decades of wear, corrosion, and neglect. Fewer still emerged in pristine, untouched condition, coins that glowed with their original luster, sharp edges, and flawless detail. And here's where the magic happens. The highest graded examples, those certified as MS-67 Red or higher by professional grading services, have sold for jaw-dropping amounts, reaching into the hundreds of thousands and, in some private auctions, estimated near that incredible $956,000 mark. Imagine holding in your hand a tiny copper disc from 1956 that could change your financial future overnight. It sounds like a dream, but for a few lucky collectors, it became reality. But why this coin? What makes the 1956 no mint mark wheat penny stand out from every other Lincoln cent? It comes down to a combination of beauty and history. The wheat reverse design, used from 1909 until 1958, is a nostalgic masterpiece, representing the backbone of America's agricultural spirit. On one side, the strong, wise profile of Abraham Lincoln reminds us of unity and perseverance. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, like golden pillars of abundance. When struck with precision and preserved perfectly, the result isn't just a coin, it's art. Yet the real excitement begins when we dive into the errors and varieties that make certain 1956 pennies worth a fortune. Some coins were struck slightly off-center, others show doubling in Lincoln's date or lettering, and a few were minted with stunning red luster that never faded. Each imperfection, each anomaly, can turn a regular coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Here's a fun thought. How many of us have unknowingly spent small fortunes at the grocery store without realizing it? You might have used a rare penny to pay for gum, tossed it into a tip jar, or watched it roll away under your car seat. The idea is both hilarious and horrifying. Every coin you touch could be a potential treasure, and you wouldn't even know it. Now, let's talk about the numbers, because they're what truly set hearts racing. A typical circulated 1956 no mint mark penny might only bring in a few cents, maybe $1 or $2 if it's in decent shape. But those that have been preserved in mint state condition, uncirculated, blazing with their original red copper shine, are another story. A coin graded MS-65 can fetch anywhere from $25 to $75. Step up to MS-66, and you're looking at $150 to $250. But the real fireworks begin at MS-67 or higher. One such coin was estimated to be worth around $956,000 in private collector circles, setting off a wave of excitement among numismatists across the United States. That's not just a collector's item, that's a retirement plan in your pocket. Think about that for a moment. One penny, minted almost 70 years ago, can now buy you a home, a luxury car, or even fund your dream business. It's proof that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street or Silicon Valley. It sometimes hides in the palm of your hand. You might be wondering right now, do I have one of these rare treasures? And that's exactly the question that keeps collectors and treasure hunters up at night. The thrill of searching through old jars, inspecting coins with magnifying glasses, and discovering that one shining rarity, it's a feeling that's part history, part adrenaline. But here's where the fear creeps in, the fear of missing out. Every day, people unknowingly spend or discard coins that could have changed their lives. Somewhere, maybe even in your home, lies a coin worth hundreds of thousands, and you wouldn't even recognize it without a trained eye. This is why experts and coin dealers always emphasize grading and authentication. A professional certification from PCGS or NGC not only verifies your coin's condition, but can multiply its value instantly. Collectors trust certified coins because they represent transparency, rarity, and undeniable authenticity. The difference between a penny worth $1 and one worth $956,000 can come down to a single microscopic detail, a crisp strike, a lack of blemishes, or that perfect fiery red surface. Coins with this level of perfection are so few that when one surfaces, it sends shock waves through the collector market. And speaking of perfection, let's not ignore the emotional power of this story. Because the 1956 penny isn't just a piece of metal, it's a time capsule. It connects us to an era when America believed in progress, when every cent mattered, and when a penny saved truly was a penny earned. Each coin has passed through countless hands, carrying with it whispers of history, of families, soldiers, dreamers, and workers. To own one is to hold a tangible piece of the nation's spirit. You might think, it's just a penny. But that's exactly the kind of thinking that keeps hidden wealth out of reach. What if that old jar in your kitchen holds not just coins, but keys to your financial freedom? What if the fortune you've been chasing in the future has been sitting quietly in your past? Of course, not every 1956 penny will make you rich. But the lesson goes deeper. True wealth often hides in plain sight, waiting for those with curiosity and patience to uncover it. And isn't that the story of every successful person? The ability to see value where others see none. Let's inject a bit of humor here. Imagine explaining to your financial advisor that your retirement plan is based on a 1-cent coin from the Eisenhower era. They might laugh. But when that coin hits auction and the bids climb past hundreds of thousands, suddenly everyone's paying attention. It's the kind of irony that makes the world of numismatics both thrilling and unpredictable. But this market moves fast. Rare coins, once discovered and certified, don't stay hidden for long. Demand among high-end collectors has exploded in recent years. As more people recognize coins as alternative investments, much like gold or art, the competition for top-grade specimens intensifies. In other words, the time to act is now. Don't wait until another record sale hits the headlines. Start searching, start learning, and start looking at your coins differently. That small act of curiosity could lead to a life-changing discovery. If you want to know where to begin, the first step is to inspect your collection, or even your spare change, for wheat pennies dated between 1909 and 1958. Focus on the 1956 no-mint mark versions, especially those with vibrant red color and sharp detail. If you find one that looks unusually clean, preserve it carefully and consider having it professionally graded. It might sound simple, but countless collectors have built small fortunes from coins others ignored. They looked at what was ordinary and saw the extraordinary. They didn't let doubt or procrastination stop them from seizing opportunity. So ask yourself, How many hidden treasures have passed through your hands? How many times have you mistaken wealth for worthlessness? The answer might surprise you. As we near the end of this journey, let's return to where we started, with that single penny. The 1956 no-mint mark Wheat Lincoln. 1-cent penny is a testament to patience, attention, and belief. It reminds us that sometimes value is not given, it's discovered, and maybe, just maybe, that discovery is waiting for you. Somewhere in your home lies a coin that could rewrite your story. Maybe it's in your dresser, your old wallet, or an envelope passed down from a grandparent. All it takes is one coin, one moment, and one decision to look closer. Don't let another day go by wondering what could have been. Your opportunity might be smaller than a dime, but its potential is priceless. If this story sparked a sense of excitement or curiosity in you, take it as your sign to start exploring. Dust off those old jars, open that forgotten coin album, and see what history left in your hands. You never know. Your $1,000,000 penny could be waiting right there, silently holding the key to your next chapter of wealth and freedom. And when you find it, remember, you heard it here first. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, the kind that's been sitting on a shelf for decades, and pulling out a small copper penny. It's worn, it's old, and at first glance it looks ordinary. But what if I told you that little coin, a 1957 Wheat Lincoln 1 cent, could be worth up to $957,000? That's right. A single penny that once bought a stick of gum could now buy you a home, a car, and a lifetime of financial freedom. Sounds unbelievable? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this humble cent has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters across America. Let's begin with the story. The year was 1957, the Eisenhower era. America was booming. Rock and roll was taking over, and the U.S. Mint in Denver was hard at work striking billions of Lincoln wheat cents. Most were common. Billions flowed through grocery store tills and gas stations without anyone noticing. But hidden among those everyday coins were a few extraordinary pieces. A small number left the mint with errors so rare, so subtle, that they went unnoticed for decades. These are the 1957 Wheat pennies that collectors today would pay nearly $1 million to own. Now, before you start digging through your change jar, let's pause for a second. You might be thinking, how can a 1-cent coin possibly be worth almost $1 million? That's the beauty of coin collecting. Rarity meets demand. It's like owning a piece of history in the palm of your hand. Each coin tells a story, and some stories are worth fortunes. The 1957 Wheat penny is no ordinary cent. It carries the iconic wheat ears design on the reverse, marking the end of an era before the memorial reverse was introduced in 1959. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, whose likeness first appeared on the cent in 1909. By 1957, America had grown, changed, and prospered. Yet the penny remained a reminder of simpler times. But the magic lies not just in its age or design, but in its errors. Some 1957 pennies exhibit rare double-die obverse errors, where the date, mint mark, or inscriptions like Liberty appear doubled under magnification. Others have off-center strikes, die cracks, or even missing details due to worn dies. These small mistakes are what turn a penny into a prize. In the world of numismatics, imperfections can be perfection. Picture this. You're sorting through an old cigar box of your grandfather's coins, and you spot that tiny D mint mark below the date. You hold it up to the light and notice something unusual. Maybe the letters look thicker, maybe the rim is slightly off. Your heart skips a beat. Could it be? That's how discoveries happen. Ordinary people just like you finding extraordinary wealth hidden in plain sight. And that's the thrilling part. Because these coins don't just sit in museums, they still circulate among us. Some are buried in forgotten drawers, some resting quietly in collections waiting for rediscovery. Every day, someone new learns that their childhood penny collection might be worth a small fortune. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The most valuable 1957 Lincoln penny ever sold wasn't just a fluke. It was a flawless mint-state specimen, graded MS67+ by experts. The surfaces were pristine, the strike was razor-sharp, and the color, a blazing red copper, looked as if it had just left the mint. When it hit the auction block, collectors went wild. The final price? A staggering $957,000. That single sale cemented the coin's legendary status. But here's the catch. Coins like that don't just appear out of thin air. They're found by people who pay attention, people who take a second look at what everyone else ignores. And that's where opportunity hides. Think about it. How many times have you handled a penny without even looking at it? How many could you have passed over that were worth more than your car? Here's the truth. Every coin you touch is a potential gateway to wealth. The trick is knowing what to look for, so let's break it down. The key signs of a valuable 1957 D penny are clarity of strike, strong red luster, and mint state condition. If your coin has never been circulated, if it shines like a new copper sunrise, you could be sitting on something truly special. And if you spot errors, doubling, off-centering, die breaks, you might just have one of the rare million-dollar specimens. But let's pause here for a moment. You might be feeling a mix of excitement and doubt. That's normal. After all, finding a six-figure coin in your pocket change feels like winning the lottery. But remember, lotteries are about luck. Coin collecting is about knowledge. The more you learn, the luckier you become. And here's the fear trigger. These opportunities don't last forever. Each year, more rare coins are found, graded, and locked away by collectors and investors. Once they're in private collections, they rarely resurface. The number of undiscovered high-value 1957 D pennies is shrinking fast. Waiting could mean missing your chance forever. So if you've got old pennies lying around, don't ignore them. Take them out, examine them, learn their secrets. That's how wealth begins, not by chasing trends, but by uncovering what others overlook. Now, a little humor to reset your focus. Imagine walking into a coffee shop, dropping a 1957 D penny into the tip jar, and the barista unknowingly just made more than a CEO. That's the absurd reality of coin collecting. The smallest things can hold the greatest value. This idea, that something so common could be priceless, changes the way you see the world. Suddenly, every coin, every token of the past becomes a potential treasure. You start paying attention to detail, you start thinking like a collector, and in that mindset lies power. Because the wealthy don't just earn money, they recognize opportunity where others see none. And that brings us to a deeper truth. The 1957 D wheat penny isn't just about copper and mint marks. It's about time, patience, and the quiet persistence of value. This coin survived over 60 years of circulation, recessions, wars, and inflation. And it still carries the same message etched beneath Lincoln's portrait. In God we trust. It's a symbol of faith, resilience, and potential. Three qualities that turn ordinary people into millionaires. Let's fast forward to today. The market for rare coins has exploded. With online auctions, grading services, and private sales, collectors are paying record-breaking prices. A few decades ago, a mint state 1957 D penny might have fetched a few $100s. Today, we're talking hundreds of thousands. Tomorrow? Who knows? This surge isn't random. It's fueled by scarcity, passion, and the timeless allure of history. As more people realize the potential of their old coins, demand rises. And as demand rises, so do prices. It's the perfect storm for anyone sitting on a hidden gem. But here's the exciting twist. You don't need to be an expert to start. All it takes is curiosity. Start small. Learn the difference between grades, understand the minting process, and explore reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate and grade your coin, and that single certification can turn your penny into a financial powerhouse. Think of it like this. If your coin is a diamond in the rough, professional grading is the cut that makes it shine. Once it's certified, it becomes a tangible asset, something that can appreciate in value, something you can hold, trade, or pass down. Now, before we close, let's imagine one last moment. You're sitting at your desk, your 1957 D penny in hand. You've just learned that it's worth nearly $1 million. The world feels different, doesn't it? Suddenly, the idea of financial freedom isn't a dream. It's a reality within reach. That feeling, that spark of discovery, is what drives every collector. It's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of finding meaning and value where others see none. And here's the final cliffhanger. There are still more coins out there waiting to be found. Maybe in your attic, your drawer, or your pocket right now. The 1957 D-Wheat penny is just one example of how hidden wealth surrounds us, disguised as something ordinary. The question is, will you take a second look? Before you go, remember this. The road to wealth doesn't always start with a business or a big investment. Sometimes it starts with a single penny and the wisdom to recognize its worth. If you've enjoyed uncovering this story, take a moment to look at your own coins. You might be holding the next great discovery, the next million-dollar piece of history. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching for an old jar of coins tucked away in a drawer, and realizing that a single copper penny could change your life forever. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's just a penny. But this is no ordinary coin. This is the 1958 no mint mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a humble piece of metal that today could be worth an astonishing $958,000. Yes, you heard that right, a penny that could buy you a house, a luxury car, and still leave you with enough to live comfortably for years. But before you run to check your coin jar, let's uncover the mystery behind this tiny treasure. Why is it so valuable? How can a 1-cent coin made of copper and bearing Abraham Lincoln's face be worth nearly $1 million today? And more importantly, could you be holding one without even realizing it? The story of the 1958 wheat penny is one of history, rarity, and pure luck, an American legend hiding in plain sight. Let's rewind to the year 1958. The post-war boom was in full swing. Gas was 24 cents a gallon, Elvis Presley ruled the radio, and pennies were still made of 95% copper. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 252 million of these 1958 no-mint mark wheat pennies, marking the final year of the beloved wheat ear reverse design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. On paper, it was supposed to be an ordinary production year, just another batch of pennies for everyday use. But as history often proves, the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Among the millions of regular 1958 pennies, a few were struck with a remarkable error, what collectors now call the 1958 double-die obverse. On these rare specimens, Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date 1958 appear doubled, as if the coin was printed twice. This was not a design choice, but a minting error caused by a misaligned die during production. Only a few of these double-die pennies were ever confirmed to exist. Some estimates suggest fewer than 5 genuine examples are known today. That level of rarity pushes it into the realm of myth. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover made of copper, a near impossibility. Now, here's where it gets exciting. In 2018, one of these rare 1958 double-die pennies sold for an incredible $336,000 at auction. And since then, as demand for high-grade examples has skyrocketed, experts estimate its current market value at around $958,000. That's nearly $1 million for a 1-cent coin. Let that sink in for a moment. Think about it. How many of us have tossed pennies aside thinking they're worthless? How many times have you seen a coin on the sidewalk and walked right past it? Maybe next time you won't. But what makes this coin so special? It's not just the doubling or the rarity, it's what it represents. The 1958 wheat penny marks the end of an era. It's the last coin of the classic wheat reverse design, the symbol of America's resilience and prosperity through 2 world wars and the Great Depression. It bridges history from Lincoln's legacy to modern America. Holding one feels like holding a piece of time itself. Of course, not every 1958 penny is worth nearly $1 million. Most of them, in average circulated condition, are worth just a few cents. Even uncirculated examples might fetch around $1 to $2. But when it comes to that ultra-rare double-die version, collectors and investors are willing to pay small fortunes. Why? Because rarity fuels desire and desire drives value. Here's something that might surprise you. Counterfeiters have tried to recreate the 1958 double-die penny for decades, but experts can always tell the difference. The genuine error has a distinct doubling that appears crisp and pronounced under magnification, especially on the date and the word liberty. Fake ones usually show soft or blurry doubling, or they're made from altered 1958 D coins. So if you think you've found one, never clean it, Never polish it. Just get it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. And here's where fear and excitement collide. Imagine having a coin worth almost $1 million sitting in a dusty jar and you accidentally spend it on a cup of coffee. It's happened before. People have unknowingly spent rare coins at face value, completely unaware of their worth. The thought alone should make you want to check every penny that crosses your path. The truth is, there's a silent revolution happening among collectors. More people than ever are searching through their old change, hoping to uncover hidden gems like the 1958 wheat penny. It's not just about the money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of possibility. That rush of realizing something ordinary can be extraordinary. And if you think you need to be an expert to find these treasures, think again. Many of the most valuable coins in history were found by everyday people. Kids sorting through pocket change, retirees cleaning out old drawers, or someone inheriting a jar of coins from a grandparent. The next big discovery could come from anyone. It could come from you. Here's a little humor to lighten things up. You ever think about how funny it is that we lose sleep over digital currencies and stock portfolios, while an old penny from 1958 could outperform them all? It's like the universe saying, hey, sometimes the simplest things are the most valuable. But there's something deeper here. The 1958 wheat penny reminds us that value isn't always visible. Wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's hidden in the quiet corners of our lives, in things we overlook every day. And that's where the story takes a turn. Imagine finding one of these pennies, getting it graded, and watching the value soar in an auction room filled with collectors bidding fiercely. The auctioneer calls $950,000, and the hammer falls. You've just turned a penny into a fortune. That's not just money, it's transformation. And let's be honest, it's not just about becoming rich. It's about the freedom that comes with it. The ability to live the life you've dreamed of, to take control of your financial destiny, to turn nostalgia into opportunity. But here's the twist that keeps collectors up at night. Not all the rare 1958 double die pennies have been found. That means somewhere out there one could still be hiding, in a coin roll, a family collection, or a box in the attic. Maybe even in your pocket change. Now here's a question to keep your attention sharp. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. The date, the mint mark, the details on Lincoln's face. Most people don't bother, but those who do sometimes strike gold. Or in this case, copper worth gold's weight. Let's not forget, the 1958 wheat penny was born during an era when craftsmanship and precision mattered. The people who designed it probably never imagined their work would become one of the most sought-after pieces in numismatic history. Each stroke of the design, each detail on Lincoln's portrait, tells a story of American pride and perseverance. For collectors and investors today, coins like this aren't just artifacts, they're assets. Tangible wealth. Unlike stocks or crypto, a coin you can hold in your hand gives you a sense of permanence, a connection to history. And when that coin happens to be worth nearly $1 million, it's not just history, it's legacy. But let's inject a bit of reality. Not everyone will find one. That's the fear that fuels the chase. The rarity is precisely what makes the discovery so thrilling. And yet every collector knows. The more you search, the more your odds improve. That's the beauty of this pursuit. It rewards curiosity, patience, and a little bit of luck. If you've made it this far, here's your takeaway. Don't underestimate what you have. Go through your old coin jars, check your pocket change, search those boxes in your attic. Because while others are sleeping on opportunity, you could be sitting on a penny that's worth a lifetime of wealth. And let's face it, how many stories in life let you say you became a millionaire from a 1-cent coin? It's the kind of tale that turns heads at dinner parties and inspires generations to look a little closer at what they already have. So, as you hold that next penny in your hand, ask yourself, could this be the one? The one that changes everything? Because history has shown it happens when you least expect it. If you're serious about unlocking the hidden value in your old coins, take action today. Start learning, start checking, and most importantly, start believing that your fortune could be closer than you think. The 1958 no mint mark wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol. A symbol that wealth can be found in the simplest places, that history rewards those who pay attention, and that sometimes life-changing opportunities hide in plain sight. So go ahead, open that drawer, dust off that jar, and take a closer look. Because your next penny might just be worth $958,000. And when you find it, remember this moment. Because that's not just a penny. That's your golden ticket to freedom. If you enjoyed this journey through history, value, and hidden fortune, make sure to stay tuned. There are more treasures waiting to be discovered, and your next great find might be just one coin away. Subscribe for more stories of wealth hidden in plain sight, and let's turn your pocket change into prosperity.